Hello and welcome to another double sleeve review, where today we're going to look at the KMC Hyper Phoenix Sleeves. Are these really good or not? Well, let's have a little look. And if you like these reviews, make sure you check out all the other ones, make sure you subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Before we kick off though, it's worth noting that the lovely people at KMC have provided these sleeves for us today. They don't get to look at this review and they don't get any input into it. We don't show it to them and we'll say whatever we want to say about them no matter what. But we wanted to make it clear we didn't pay for these. We got a bunch of these sent to us, which is very nice. We may even do a little giveaway of a couple of packs just because we don't need so many. In this sleeving review, we're going to look at a bunch of categories. We'll start with shuffle feel. We'll look at double sleeving. We'll go to seam strength. We'll look at durability, clarity, opacity, and end on price. So starting with shuffle feel, and KMC have helpfully hinted on the top of their packaging, these are smooth shuffling. Well, when we start shuffling with them, what do we find out? Who'd have thought it? These are a pretty smooth shuffle. They're not as smooth as some sleeves we found, but equally they're not as tough and sort of full of friction as others that we found. So they're pretty nice. It is worth noting that the corners are fairly sharp. They're not quite Dragon Shield matte level, but they're definitely something where once in a while you catch yourself and you realize, these are pretty sharp. So next we look at double sleeving, something we care quite a bit about. And for this, we get 100 cards. We sleeve them in inner sleeves, 7 different types of inner sleeves, 100 times, and then we put them inside the KMC Hyper Phoenixes to see how well they interact with the inner sleeve. Every time the inner sleeve rides up and comes away from the card, we describe that as a bad fit because it's not a fun experience. It is, you can overcome that with various different techniques, but largely it's just annoying. So we do that and we find that across the 700 double sleeving attempts, there were very, very few that were considered bad fits. And therefore, these are some of the best outer sleeves to double sleeve with that we found. It is worth noting though, these are thicker than most, about the same as Dragon Shield mattes. So although they are fairly spacious, they're also quite thick. So if you are double sleeving, you are going to find that with some, again, thicker inner sleeves, 100 double sleeved cards is going to be quite chunky and you're going to struggle to fit that inside some deck boxes. Now we'll look at seam strength, and for this we do a couple of things. Number one, we do the old stretch test where we literally grab either side of the sleeve and we pull them apart until we snap the seams, basically. And as you can see here, the force required was such that I actually knocked over the setup that I was using. But they are rippable. However, it is not easy. These are pretty strong seams. We do notice though, when we do our other test, which is getting a card and attempting to split the seam with the card as though you were sleeving quite sloppily, and how much force is required, that one side of the sleeve, one seam, is definitely stronger than the other, and one side took a lot less effort to split. So something to bear in mind. A lot of sleeve manufacturers, for whatever reason, probably just by accident, make one seam stronger than the other. So with these, we noticed that as you look at the sleeve, the right hand side was a bit weaker. However, that can just be a variance of something we found, but they are pretty strong. Now we look at durability, and for this we have a couple of measures again. The main one is the 1000 rough shuffles. This is where we sleeve up 50 cards in KMC inners and KMC Hyper Phoenix outers, and I just shuffle it 1,000 times. And I'm not just shuffling normally. You can see here, I really give it some. I'm smashing the seams together. It is all in the aid of trying to simulate a series of bad shuffling techniques, or just a lot of play. You know, you're shuffling many thousands of times potentially. You want to know, will they hold up? I make note every 100 shuffles to see how we get on. and it takes about 300 for us to start to see some splits, and after 1000 we have seen about 18 sleeves split out of the 50, which seems really drastic and really bad. Bear in mind, I'm really hammering these sleeves together. The actual cards, the actual sleeves, sorry, themselves don't seem in too bad a way. So they're pretty strong. It's just if they do get caught, there is a likelihood that they could split. So a mixed one on those. I feel strongly that the sleeves held up well and integrity. However, we did see some splits, so something to keep in mind. The other thing that we use is the sort of scratch test on the back of the sleeve to see how easily marked they are. And largely tough to mark these. They are the kind of interesting textural kind of glossy back makes them tougher to get a kind of nail mark in, or if you scratch it. You can get it to show, but it's not as easy as you might think. So overall, not a bad durability score. Now we look at clarity, and this is an easy one. We put a foily, shiny card inside of the sleeve, and we wiggle it around and see, can you tell a difference between it unsleeved and its sleeve? And quite frankly, no, you can't. Most sleeve manufacturers now are getting pretty good. If they want it to be a glossy sleeve, then they will do it that way. So these, yeah, great clarity. We also look at opacity, and surprisingly, these sleeves aren't very opaque, and you can not only see the card coming in and out of the sleeve, but I don't know if you can see it well on the video, but you can actually even see where the writing is and what the card is. You can't read the writing and you can't see sort of significant details, but more than enough for a tournament setting for it to be certainly not good enough, not acceptable. There are ways around this. There are smoke-backed sleeves that various different manufacturers do, but you might not care. If you're playing casually, it's not going to make a big difference. However, if you're going to a tournament, you need to have opaque backed sleeves, and you don't want a double sleeve. Unfortunately, certainly the red ones that we tried, they're not going to be the ones. And now we look at price. And the reason that KMC helped us out by sending them over is because they're very difficult to get in the UK and Europe, and basically anywhere outside of Japan and America. These are USA specific, I believe, and on their website they're $12.99, so you can get them from KMC for that price. They do only come in red, blue and black though, so if you're someone who likes to mix up with really interesting colours, you're going to be a bit disappointed, although they cover most of the core bases. But to get them over in the UK, we had to sort of search different marketplaces. You can get them around sort of £13–14. That is a real high price. You are talking premium sleeve cost for that. So got to be careful. If you're in America and you like that price, great. If you're in the UK and you can get them for cheaper than that, then maybe. But that is a steep asking price for 100 outer sleeves. So there you go. A lot of claims are made on these packaging. Most durable sleeve ever, smooth shuffling, some unique compression sealing technology, highest clarity. Do I think that these sleeves are the most premium, highest quality, best sleeve out there? I don't think so. They're not bad though, and they'd be a decent option. If you find an LGS with these in for a reasonable price, give them a bash. They're okay, but I don't think that they necessarily knock the Ultimate Guard katanas off the top spot, which is certainly still my favourite sleeve. But they're good, and I think KMC, well done. You've done a decent job with these sleeves. What do you think? Have you used these sleeves? Are you a regular Hyper Phoenix sleever? Let us know in the comments below. What other sleeves should we do? What other products should we do? We've got some interesting products coming up, I will say, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe so you can see what products are coming out. Check out our socials as well, our Twitter. For sure, we'll have some sort of giveaway for these. But yeah, like, share this video. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you to KMC again for sending these over to us. Really appreciate that. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.